Hey guys, welcome back to PKJ Games History and Reviews. Today we are doing a comic book review. If you're new to the channel, don't know what this is. Basically, according to the Go Collect website, I go through the top, the top 10 hottest comics, the comics everyone's buying, and then I further categorize them into the Bronze, Silver, and Golden Age, which I'll talk about in a second. And so these are comic books I've read recently, and yeah. So I use a 1 to 5 grading, 1 to 5 scale. 1 being the worst, 5 being the best. 3 is like my happy medium. So don't get sad if a comic book that you like a lot gets 3. To me, that's like my happy medium. Okay. So number 1 on the hottest comics is Ultimate Fallout. Number 4 is the first appearance of Miles Morales as Spider-Man. And next, at number 2, we have Secret Wars number 8, first appearance of Spider-Man's black costume. Next, we have The Amazing Spider-Man, number 361, the first appearance of Carnage. Next, we have Year the Villain, Hell Arise. Horizon. But yeah, I don't really know why anyone's going for this comic book. Like, usually DC, most of the time, they really don't. I never really see DC in the top highest comics. I think they've only been there twice. I think. Next we have the Eternals, number 1. So this actually has gone up due to the fact that Marvel announced a movie that's going to come out based on this comic book. This comic book is also done by the great Jack Kirby, who basically did everything in the 60s for Marvel. Stan Lee was kind of front man. Next, so basically, a lot of comic books like this. So once a movie comes out of that comic book, or a movie's announced, a lot of people try to get that comic book. Or if a character is introduced in a movie, they want to try to get the comic book comic books with them in it, kind of thing. So yeah. So next we have the She-Hulk number 1, first appearance of She-Hulk. Next we have The Amazing Spider-Man number 4. Next we have Wolverine number 1. It's his first solo comic book series. Next we have The Amazing Spider-Man number 252. First appearance of the black suit and just the regular Spider-Man comic. And number 10 we have The Uncanny X-Men number 266. First appearance of Gambit. I really noticed that these really don't change that much, but yeah. Okay, so now we have the Bronze Age of comics. So the Bronze Age of comics is basically everything from the early 70s to the 80s, early 90s, I want to say. And so yeah. And characters who came out of this period would be like Nova. I think Luke Cage was this period too. I think Iron Fist too. Mostly a lot of DC comics. No, I meant Marvel comics. Not many DC characters were introduced in this age of comics. The only one I can think of right offhand is Jonah Hex, but and also the G.I. Joe comic book series and stuff like that. And also Black Panther's first series. So we have this one again. This was number 8, The Eternals, 252, She-Hulk, Wolverine, and so this one. So yeah, I just kind of go through those because we already seen them and talked about them. So number 6, you have Star Wars number 1. So I do have this comic. So this was, I kind of say, it was kind of weird because they made 3 different versions of it. I don't know which one I have for sure. So depending on which version you have, some with more than others kind of thing. Next we got Thor number 337, the first appearance of Beta Ray Bill. Next you have Spider-Woman number 1. It's not the first appearance, but you get a new complete origin and the mask is added. Next we got Incredible Hulk number 181. This is the first appearance of the Wolverine. Next we got Spider-Man number 129. This is the first appearance of the Jackal and the Punisher. So here's the Silver Age. So the Silver Age is anything from 1953 to 1972, 73. And so out of this, so in this age of comics, basically every Marvel character that we know and love was basically made in this era. A lot of the big comic books that people collect, from this area, a lot of characters are introduced. As pretty much the whole Marvel universe. Martian Manhunter, I think, Zatanna. I'm trying to think of any. The new Green Lantern. I think the new kind of approved Flash that we all know and love today. And stuff like that. So a lot of characters came out of this. A lot of comic books in this period would inspire episodes of the Flash, Green Arrow, DC Legends, stuff like that. Oh yeah, Rip Hunter was this period too. But lots of stories from this era would actually go on to basically be converted into TVs or movies, kind of thing. I know the first season of Flash was all based off the comics. I think a couple episodes of Young Justice were, and a lot of the Batman '66 series, a lot of those TV episodes were based off comics in this era. So number 1, you have Fantastic Four number 52. This will be the first appearance of the Black Panther, but you're not getting a solo series to late 70s. I do have that one, by the way. I think I reviewed it once or twice, so I'm trying to remember if I have or not. Next you have Iron Man number 1. This is the first solo comic book with Iron Man. Next you have Fantastic Four, number 48, The Coming of Galactus. This is pretty famous comic. It's also the first appearance of the Silver Surfer and Galactus. But I also forgot to say, with this one, this would be the first appearance of the Negative Zone for that. Sorry, I forgot about that one. Next, I have Fantastic Four number 49. Next, I have Daredevil number 1. Basically, this is the first appearance of pretty much all the main Daredevil characters. Next, you have Spider-Man number 41, first appearance of the Rhino. Next, Submariner number 1. This is the first, second comic book to, so this is the second subtitled series for him, and we get the origin story. Next, you have Silver Surfer number 1. It's the first, his origin and the first, self-titled series. Next, you have Spider-Man number 50. This is the first appearance of the Kingpin. Next, Hulk number 102. This is the titled series starts up. And so now here's the Golden Age. The Golden Age of comics was basically everything from 1952 and older. So this is when DC practically dominated. The only thing Marvel really had in this era was Captain America and Bucky, who would later become the Winter Soldier. You had, I said, the Submariner, the Human Torch, the original, and so a lot of comic books in this era were heavily influenced by World War II, stuff like that. Um, and um, and pretty much DC dominated the whole thing. Um, and this is when comic books were magazines, so you had like almost like six to like 10 different stories in them. They're huge back then. And it's just like when a lot of characters like Batman, Superman, the Green Hornet, the Lone Ranger, Buck Rogers, Flash Gordon, um, the original Flash and Green Lantern, um, the Question, uh, the Green Arrow, Wonder Woman, and basically a lot of like DC's main characters were introduced in this age of comics, and a lot of villains too, like the Joker, the Penguin, Catwoman, Lex Luthor. Uh, I think I hit maybe Mr. Freeze. Well, he might have been like for start, like the Riddler. So yeah, so basically a lot of DC's characters came out of this era, and Blackhawk came out of this era too. Um, so yeah. So at number one we have Mad at number one, the first issue. Next you have the Atomic Thunderbolt number one, isn't it? That's at number two. I've never heard of this guy. Next you have Tales from the Crypt. Number 33. You get the origin of the Crypt Keeper. Uh, so by looking at some of these covers, the Tales from the Crypt and stuff like that, I can totally see why parents are all like, why are my kids reading this stuff, kind of thing. Like, there's a couple, I think a couple episodes ago, we featured the comic book, on, the top 10. We had the comic book one of the comic books that were used in the Senate investigation trial. And, geez, it was gory. And I'm like, for, the 30s, now that's, nothing. But back then, it was like, geez. That is so violent. Now it's like, oh, okay. But next you have Mad number 3, Batman number 24, and Batman number 38. Next you got Georgie number 13. I don't know what this comic book is, but it kind of, the art kind of reminds me of Archie in a way. I think so I wonder if this was like the predecessor of Archie, because just kind of looking at the art, it just kind of reminds me of Archie, if you know who he is. Um, that big show Riverdale, that's Archie. That's all based off comic book, I think. Next you have at number 8 at Batman number 44. At number 9, you had Haunt of Fear number 6. And at number 10, you have Haunt of Fear number 18. So yeah, just by looking at these covers of these comics, I can kind of see why they had that parents wanted the comic code authority, kind of complaining, but yeah. So all the comics, the Golden Age seems to change the most, mostly because there's not many of them. So yeah, not many of them left. The Silver Age changes quite a bit every once in a while. You might get a new comic thrown in. Same with the hottest comics, you might get one thrown in, like a new one. But in Bronze Age, every once in a while, there's a new one thrown in. Just look up past videos. It you can kind of see the change. But yeah, so most of the time with those hottest, they don't really change. And yeah. So that was the hottest comics according to Go Collect. So here's the comic books we're going to be reviewing today. We have a lot. Um, I have a window popped open, so if you hear like any construction, because they're doing some construction on the street, or like honks or anything, it's because the window's open. Because I'm pretty much burning up in here. But mostly because I've been showing symptoms of COVID. So I'm kind of trapped in here till my COVID test comes back. Hopefully tomorrow. Yeah, so that's that. So here's the comic books for today. There you go. And so let's just get right in. So by the way, we have Green Lantern number 67. And so this is a volume 2 of Green Lantern. And they're pretty okay-ish. I don't mind them, they're good. So I give it like a 3. But you don't really, it's like you don't really verse any, like, famous bad guys. You all kind of get, like, it's kind of one-shot, like Sonar. But this one comic books really sort of tie in, like, with each other. And this one DC, and mostly because back then, you really only needed to buy one comic book to get the whole story, pretty much, until Marvel really came out, and it's like, okay, we're going to have a whole bunch of different comic books going at once, stuff like that. So yeah. So that DC kind of started doing this, because if you kind of read through, you can say, there's a bunch of boxes like, oh, this happened in Aquaman number 10. This happened in Batman like 400, stuff like that. So, yeah. So, yeah, this one's pretty good. But I said it's not really a, like, famous superhero, like, famous bad guy. But you have Flash, so I was pretty happy. But I don't know if this is, like, if it was Barry Allen Flash, or, oh my gosh, I forgot his name, or Kid Flash who became Flash, because in the comic books, like, Flash dies, and then Kid Flash becomes Flash. Yeah. And also, I don't get, so this guy's named Kyle, and I don't know when he comes in, like, what happened to regular Green Lantern, like, Guy Gardner, stuff like that, so I don't really know what happened to, those dudes, but, yeah. So now we have, number 68. So at first I thought these were actually, like, you know, like those people on the planet, is it Oa? Is that where the Green Lantern people live? Well, like, kind of like the home headquarters kind of thing. I think it's Oa. And, you know, and if you're a comic book guy, they have, like, this little, like, small, like, people, kind of like that little council kind of thing. Yeah, at first I thought they were these guys, but I was pretty happy with this one, because you had Mr. Freeze. And I'm like, yay, finally a guy I recognize. I was pretty happy that I finally found there's finally someone I recognize that's been a whole bunch of comics. So this is really good, so I'll give this one a 4. And yeah, well, the only downside is you really need to read the last, like, basically when it started. You need just to read all of that to get the gist of what's going on. Next, Captain America number 17. So personally, this is actually kind of a good comic. It's starting to get kind of interesting. But I love these covers, so this is kind of one of the only reasons why I get these. Like when I get old enough, I just can't wait to put them in Mylar. My thing looks so good. And if you don't know what Mylar is, I think all the other comic books have coming up in it, so I can kind of compare what these regular ones to Mylar. And so this comic book, you really needed to collect a whole bunch of different series, because Marvel did is Civil War number 2, and yeah, a lot of stuff got weird. So I just collected the Captain America series that they did during that. So you had Steve Rogers Captain America, And that's when I think Captain America is actually part of Hydra. It's a really good series, so I highly recommend you get that. And and then you have and then you just had, and so then they went back to the regular Captain America, and I got that. That was really good because it was what I liked in a comic book. It's just like I like you have like the one shot, like every comic different villain, and it ties in with a little bit, and that's what it was. It was like every comic it's a different villain, and I'm like, this is great. Then I got weird after he got frozen ice again, and came back like 50 years later in the future, like, and it was like the apocalypse, and I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. But I still got it anyway. And then I got more weird when went into the future, stuff like that. So then that all ended, and now it came out with this. And just reading it, you just really need to get like the first, like Marvel, unlike a lot of other comic books, you can get like 5 different comics to get the gist of what's going on. So basically, since like number 1 of this, I kind of had like no idea what's going on. But I think they're ending it soon, or they have ended, because as of July, today's the 6th, yeah, July 6th, they haven't came out with one since, like, April. Well, due to coronavirus, because Marvel's headquarters in New York City. But they haven't come out with the new comic books lately, so in June, or late May, early June. But they have not come out with one of these. So I wonder if they just straight up just ended it. Which I won't be that surprised, I guess. So I'll give this one a 3. Okay, so here's that Mylar I was talking about. So this is made with acid, and over time it starts breaking down your comic book. But it takes like years. It's kind of like a fossil. Like it takes years and years for it to actually it's like coming out the Grand Canyon with the water, like the river, the Colorado River, coming out the Grand Canyon. Like it takes like years and years and years for it to like break down the comic book, but eventually it does. So that's why you put them in this Mylar. And so this certain Mylar, when I bought it, so Mylar, it's basically this, but what's so special about it is, it's acid-free. And plus, I think the comic book just looks better. I think it pops more, kind of thing. That's just my opinion. Also, yeah, that's just my opinion. In my opinion, I think it just pops more. But yeah. So also, so like museums use it to to preserve like documents and stuff. And so you can get it for comic books, like for a couple bucks. It's not that much to get it for comic books nowadays. So they are just really relatively cheap. And so you can get like a pack of 50 like for $10, I think, or 20, which is not that bad for in the comic book world. So yeah. So let's just get this out of the way. And let's start with this Batman. So this is Batman number 330. And I really like this cover most because it has the Batmobile. That's kind of it. And just realize how tall Batman is compared to Robin, who at this point in the comic book, like in the DC universe, was in college. But granted that he's also bent down. But so this was a good comic book, and it tied in with the next couple issues, which I do have. But I don't like this. Was resting. This staple started resting, so it has like a big resting on the comic. But other than that, it's okay. So I'll give this one a 3-star review. So I mentioned these guys earlier, and so this is Blackhawk. And so my friend has basically all Blackhawk except like 5 issues, something like that, which is pretty impressive actually. So this is Blackhawk number 199, and what it is, it's kind of like a team of not superheroes, but they have no superpowers, but they do eventually get some later in the comic book series. So they don't have superpowers, but they basically help people kind of using their wits. But most of the time they're fighting like monsters. like monsters or like aliens or some weird mad scientist event, some like weird machine kind of thing, stuff like that. But Blackhawk is a great series. It's one of my favorites. Because as I said, it's like a new villain every time. Except one. His name is Killer Shark. He comes in every couple of issues. So this is number 199. This was a really good comic book. I liked it, and I really like this cover too, like with the mummy ant kind of thing. I really like this cover, and I was planning on doing this for the thumbnail, but no. As you can, if you clicked on this video, you can tell no, it's another one which is coming up. So yeah, we actually have a lot of like thumbnail worthy comics in this one. Yeah. So yeah, this is really good. So basically, these ants come down to Earth, and they're just trying to kill all insects, really. So these are alien ants come down to Earth and try to kill off the insects. You know, if you kill off all the insects, stuff doesn't end well, you know? Like, for everyone. Like, the human race and everything. Stuff like that. So, yeah. But also, like, they have two stories in them, too. And the other one was a guy who imprisoned the Blackhawks and set him up in a jail cell that's about to explode. But yeah, so this was, so in the DC, this was a period in DC's time, like late 50s and early 60s, where they fought lots of aliens, mad scientists, stuff like that. And yeah, so we'll talk about this later, but we'll talk about the guy who kind of got DC away from that. We'll talk about him later. So this comic overall, I give a 5-star review. So next I got Blackhawk. This is number 198. This is 199. So this is one of the last times the Blackhawks wore these costumes, which is my favorite. So you're probably sitting there asking, why is there a Nazi symbol? Well, originally the Blackhawks actually fought the Nazis. That was back in the 40s and stuff, and they kind of started. And so this is the origin of the Blackhawks. They just retold it. I think. I don't know. So, what's special about... Well, I guess what's kind of special about this is, you know, it's a World War II comic, which, you know, DC really didn't make much of those, really. They had Sergeant Rock, but that's kind of it. And I can read war stories, but that's it. But this is, like when Blackhawk goes back to World War II, it's generally really good. And I like it a lot. But, yeah. So why, you know, like, people nowadays are freak if they saw this. Back then, it was kind of the norm for comic books. Like, almost every comic book at some point, mostly from, like, World War II to, like, the early 70s, had, well, you know, they have, like, World War II themed issues. Like, I have a Batman Brave and the Bold, Sergeant Rock, and it's, like, 1970s, and they're trying to find Hitler. And, like, the cover shows Batman, Sergeant Rock, shooting at something. There's, like, a Nazi symbol, stuff like that. And so this was pretty much the norm until, like, the 70s kind of thing. You know, and then, like, there's a lot of comics, like, based off World War II. Like, you have Sergeant Phoenix, Howling Commandos, which those get reviewed a lot. We have lots of those. But the next episode, we have a kind of pretty cool one coming up, okay? But yeah, so this comic was really good. I liked it a lot, and I really like this cover. Like I said, we have a lot of thumbnail-worthy comics in here. Like this, like if this was like the only kind of old comic I was reviewing this one, this probably would have been the thumbnail. But with this Nazi symbol, I don't know if I could have done it. I might get like slammed by people. But yeah, but I've always really liked this cover kind of thing. But so it's so nice. I picked this up down in Lincoln, Nebraska, with this guy. He has a whole bunch of Blackhawk, and Blackhawk's one of those things that people just really want to get rid of them, because no one really gets them anymore. So he gave me like a whole bunch for $1. What's so nice, every time I go down, I can get like 10, because he gives me $1 each. It's great. But yeah, let's see. But yeah. So this one, this is World's Finest number 203. This one I picked up in Tampa Bay, in this place called like Emerald City Comics. It's really good. And so they have like this whole like bin. It's like Silver Age comics, like for like it's like 5 for $24. So I just went through, got a couple Blackhawk. I had a couple Blackhawk in there, so I was pretty happy. I got this, and I forgot the other ones I got, but I think I got Batman or something. I don't know. I'm trying to remember. But yeah, it was really good. I liked it a lot. And so this is actually, and Justice League, that was it. So this is a really good one. Another World's Finest, that's what it was. Yeah, it was a Blackhawk, 2 World's Finest, a Justice League. What was the other one? I forgot. But yeah, I have to go, because I have an aunt and uncle who live down there, so I visit them every once in a while. About every year, we try to go down there and just visit them over the summer. This year, we obviously can't do it, sadly. But next year, fingers crossed, hope this coronavirus stuff goes away. Because I want to go down and get my comics. But yeah, so this is a really good one. So now these like dolphin alien things are now trying to take over the Earth. Yeah. Yeah, that's basically what this is. Yeah, weird. And so this one I give like a 3-star review. And also this is actually one of my first Aquaman comics. So many of him. Oh yay, more Blackhawk. This is number 228. This is probably my favorite one, so I'd rate it a 5-star review. Mostly because it has the Justice League in it. I got this for $1. And this is one of my favorite covers. And yeah. And this would have been the thumbnail cover, but you know, it's not a thumbnail worthy one. But yeah, so I guess the Justice League kind of tests the Blackhawks to see if they can fight the modern villain. But sadly, this ended on a cliffhanger. I don't have the next issue. It's on the list though. I have a notebook filled with I have it filled with all the numbers I need. Yeah. So this I get a 5-star review. It was really entertaining and good. And I just like how I have the Justice League in it. I have Batman, Superman, Green Lantern, Flash, and a Blackhawk comic. It's like all my favorite superheroes in one comic. And I'm like, yay! Woo. So I said to talk about the guy who got DC out of that weird, like, alien, mad scientist phase. This is it. This guy's named Neal Adams. He did a lot for the Green Lantern. I think it's like issue 78, 86 or something. But he did a lot. Like, I have 2 of his original works, which are both Green Lantern. I have 83 and 84. This is 84 right here. And he did a lot of Batman. His Batman works are I'm trying to remember them. I can't remember them offhand. But if I see them, I can tell that's Neal Adam one. He did Batman. He did the one with Ra's al Ghul. With Robin must die, and it shows Robin getting shot kind of thing. And he did the one where it shows Joker holding Batman on the playing card. So those are the 2 famous ones. But this series is pretty famous because it was the one after, the 2 afterwards, I do a reprint of the one that came after this. And it was one of the first comic books that dealt with drugs in comics. So that one's very extremely expensive stuff. I've seen that one for $30. I have seen another Neal Adams for $70 too. So yeah, it's stuff's pretty expensive. But this one I picked up for $8, which is pretty reasonable. The other one was $18, which is somewhat reasonable. And yeah, I'll give this 5-star review. So basically, Green Lantern, Green Arrow help save this town, and thinks the town kind of captures them, and yeah, it's weird, but it's really good. So yeah. Next. So here's our last one of the day, The Lone Ranger. This is number 76. And so these are some of my favorite comic books. I have 3 of these. I think one of them might have been in one. I don't really quite sure. I think it was number like 53, 56. But yeah, these Lone Ranger ones are the best comics I think I've ever read. Other than Batman 66 comics, like the original, like 30 issue series, these were really good. I just loved them. So there's like 3 Lone Ranger stories. But this cover is like it's probably like one of my all-time favorite comic book covers of all time. Like, it's so cool. So what's so special about this comic book? It's a painted cover, which means that it wasn't drawn, or like a gray tone cover. It's gray tone, that's what it's called. A gray tone cover, which means it was not drawn. It was painted. And there's not many of these because it was like super duper expensive. Like, insanely expensive to do because you're basically hiring a painter just to do a little drawing like this. But they did it. But yeah, so this comic is probably one of my all-time favorite comic books. I just love this cover a lot. Yeah. So, yeah. So I think this is one of the first time, like, ever, I think I've had so many of my favorite comic book covers and comics in the same video kind of thing. If you have any comments, complaints, and just any questions, and answer the questions being asked, or any like cool facts about these comics and stuff, because I like to know facts, or if I got anything wrong, I like being corrected, because I don't want to keep saying the wrong information over and over again. Okay, that's just bad. So put it in the comments below. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!